Those who turned from Yevon died, while the faithful live on.
She's awfully cheerful.
In dark times, she must be. She must shine bright. Now are dark times. Yuna tries hard.
You're Riku! That Machina? That was you?
I would like Riku to be my guardian.
Yuna, take me as your pillar of strength, as Yunalesca had her Lord Zayon.
He asked me to marry him.
Riku! Es el anfitrión!
Ace the guardian of Yuna.
How come you speak Albed?
Because I'm Albed, and that was my brother.
Seymour! We saw Jiskel's sphere.
You killed him.
Stay away from him, traitors!
Run!
Chapter 27, Traitors.
Praise be to Yevon. That's what I would have said, if I was a follower of Yevon. We were all there, and in one piece, even if I had a headache from wondering what was in store for us next.
As everyone wakes up, they realize they're under the lake ice. They can see the bottom of the Macarena temple. Also, it looks like there's ruins of an old city here. Looks familiar too. Not sure from where. Anyways, Tidus goes around talking to everyone as they regroup and think about what their next step should be. After some advice from Oren, who for the first time isn't sure what to do next, Tidus checks up on Waka, who is still distressed about all of this. Despite knowing that they just did what they had to do, Waka can't get over the fact that he's a traitor to the faith he's held so dearly his whole life. Despite still being a devout believer, he is now considered an enemy. In his anger, he tries to blame Riku, but Tidus nips that feeling in the bud before it grows. Tidus then walks over to Riku, who informs them that Yuna is breathing before asking how Waka and Lulu are doing. When he tells her that Waka is in shock but Lulu seems to be doing alright, Riku praises her for always being so together, saying that given 5 or 6 more years she'll be just like her. Although the animation seems to imply that she meant that in a different way. I don't know why they did this. Anyways, Tidus gets uncomfortable and tries to change the topic with Kimahri, but Riku, noticing this, brings it back up. After some back and forth, Kimahri says,
Kimahri think Riku should stay Riku.
Huh? Hey, are you saying I'll never be like Lulu? Kimahri!
After Waka scolds them for laughing at a time like this, Yuna wakes up and tells everyone that her plan was to convince Seymour to turn himself in exchange for marriage. Why did she think he would accept these terms? Yuna is strong and kind, but God, she's naive. After so more self-doubt and loathing from Yuna, Aura interrupts her and tells her that dwelling in the past won't help them. She then confirms that she will continue her pilgrimage, but wonders if Yevon will allow it. But Arn tells her,
The faith are the ones that give power to the summoners, not the temples or the teachings. If the temples try to stop us, then we will defy Yevon if we must.
Whoa!
I can't believe you said that!
Sir Oren?
Waka tries to back out. This is too much for him, and he still believes that he has to atone for what they've done. While he never liked Seymour, the idea of them going against all of Yevon is just too much for Waka. Both Lulu and Yuna agree that they must come forward to the Maesters of Yevon with what happened. While the Guado are protective over Seymour, the rest of Yevon isn't necessarily as protective over him. With this said, Yuna decides they must go to Vivel and speak to Grand Maester Maga. After everyone, including Oren, agrees to Yuna's idea, one thing starts to become very clear. They have no idea how they're getting out of here. So in the meantime, the group continues to talk amongst each other. Riku's just running around giddy at the fact that someone who's not an Albed considers her a friend. Lulu explains to Titus that the singing that they always hear in temples is the faith itself singing. It's most likely the song I'll be playing during any of the scenes outside of the Chamber of the Faith. I'll probably be playing it now too. Auron then brings up to Titus how Jet used to always sing this song and how he even caught Titus humming it a few times. Titus is embarrassed by this as he thought he was alone when he sang the song, but Auron told him that he would listen to it, that he would listen in because his singing reminded him of Spira. Seems Auron was a little homesick during his time in Xanarkand. When Titus asks him how he even got to Xanarkand, he quickly realizes that the answer is sin, which means that sin is the only link between the two worlds, and if they kill sin, they kill his chances of going back. Titus then checks on Waka, who notes to Titus that something in the air feels weird, although they're not sure what. Kimahri seems to agree, saying that suddenly the place they're in smells different. Suddenly, Lulu notices the singing of the faith stopped, and the ground begins to shake. And then they realize what they've been standing on. Sin. Been calm this whole time because of the song of the faith, the song that Jet used to like so much. But now that the singing stopped, Sin is starting to move again. As the ground continues shaking, it seems that Titus can sense his dad, and he realizes that he was listening to the song along with them. Titus then starts getting visions from Sin, from Jet, maybe seeing what Jet has been thinking about. Jet showing him a vision of Xanarkand, showing how he has still retained enough of himself to be homesick. Titus then gets a vision of himself young, showing that Jet still misses him.
Hey, I'm older now, you know?
Even though we can't hear him, Titus' response tells us that Jet is telling Titus that he's tired of being Sin and he wants this to end, so Titus promises him that they will find a way.
I'll find a way, promise.
Chapter 28, Yuna's Burden. Titus wakes up after the visions to find himself in an oasis, in the middle of a desert. Quite a change in scenery. Trying to find his friends, Titus makes his way deeper into the desert when he encounters a giant fiend, but it's too powerful for him to defeat alone. As Titus starts getting worn out, Auron finds him and joins the fight. After a few attacks, lightning suddenly crashes down on the fiend. Now Lulu joins the fight. So the team defeat the fiend, and now we got 3 people back on the team. 4 more to go. Unfortunately, Lulu and Auron don't know where they are, so despite the fact that Lulu said they should stay in one place if they get split up, which is a horrible idea, Auron goes off to find the others, which doesn't take long because it turns out Waka thought the same as Lulu and just huddled up in a makeshift shelter made from a machina he destroyed after getting ambushed. The group meet up with him, and he immediately asks about Yuna, but nobody knows where she is, so the group continue. The next up is Kimahri, who they find having a hard time walking up a dune, seeming concerned and disappointed in himself for having lost Yuna. Titus tries to cheer him up, and the group continue forward. Now we're just missing Riku and Yuna. And a little bit later, we find Riku. Yeah, it was really that easy. There isn't much information in between finding each character. With everyone but Yuna together, we can now confirm that none of Yuna's guardians have any idea where she is. Riku tells him something that she makes him promise to keep a secret.
No glaring either.
As it turns out, she knows where they're at. They're in Bikanel Island. Remember Bikanel Island, the desert island where the Albed made their home? Riku tells him about the Albed home nearby, knowing that an Albed probably found Yuna and rescued her, or as Waka says, kidnapped her. She promises to take them there in exchange for them promising not to tell anyone about it for obvious reasons. Waka tries to get all argumentative again, but Titus, frustrated with his bickering, quickly puts a stop to it. Everyone, including Waka, promises to keep the place a secret, and Riku begins guiding them to the Albed home. They go deeper and deeper and deeper into the desert until finally,
Over here.
Riku goes up a dune where her home should be, but when she reaches the top, they find the Albed home, but it's surrounded by fiends attacking it. The group quickly made their way to the Albed home, whether it's to help the Albed or out of fear that Yuna will get caught up in the chaos. When they arrive, Riku finds some of her people fighting fiends. One of them falls on the floor as she rushes to him and asks him who is attacking them. All he says is,
Fruta Drectui!
Yevonites, specifically Guado. Lulu wonders if there's a war between Yevon and the Albed, but someone walks up to them and says that it's no war. Guado just came for a summoner. This person is Sin, Riku's dad. Without saying much, he quickly riles everyone up to fight back and kick the Guados out of their home. Inside the Albed home, they find many strong fiends aided by Guado that get in their way. Even Waka starts to realize that the Guado are acting insane. When they make it further in, they hear Sid talking on a speaker. He tells Riku to get underground as he's leaving their home and all the fiends with it. The way he worded that seems to worry Riku, like he was implying something more than just leaving. So Riku translates for everyone, but before they can start making their way out, Orin makes sure they find Yuna first and Riku guides him to what they call the Summoner's Sanctum. On their way to the Sanctum, Waka begins to realize just how doomed this place is, and as harsh as this is, Riku agrees. She tells Waka that the Albed used to have a home before this one, but Sin destroyed it, dispersing the Albed all over the world. It wasn't until after her father brought the Albed together that they managed to make a new home for themselves. As Riku laments how things turned out, she hugs Waka, and even he begins feeling not only sympathetic towards her, but angry at the Guado for doing this to the Albed. The moment, however, is cut short by yet another ambush from a Guado with fiends. After the fight, Lulu asks Riku what exactly the Summoner's Sanctum is. Riku reveals that this is where they keep all the summoners they kidnap.
We keep them safe there.
After telling her that all they're doing is kidnapping, Waka begins saying that he understands why they do it, but before he can finish, Tidus cuts in and says,
Well, I sure don't get it, Waka. They might get hurt on their pilgrimage? So you kidnap them? I mean, if the summoners don't do their job, then who will beat Sin? You want to protect them, I know. But Guardians are there for that. If Guardians do their job well, summoners will be safe. Right? Right?
Tidus begins getting frustrated as it seems he's beginning to understand that there's something he doesn't know that they're all keeping from him, but everyone stays quiet. One after another, they all just walk away without saying anything to him, while Riku and Tidus just keep looking at each other. In the end, even she walks away without saying anything. Tidus is left alone without answers, and everyone hurries to the sanctum hoping Yuna is there. When Tidus walks in behind him, what they find is a wrecked room with dead Albed and summoners. Summoners who are not Yuna. Just Donna, Isaru, and his guardians. Donna informs them that Yuna isn't here, and Isaru tells them that the Albed died protecting them. While Donna and Isaru begin standing with the dead Albed, Pase runs up to Tidus and asks him what sacrificed means, as he heard Albed talking about summoners being sacrificed. It's always the ignorant kid that fucks secrets up. Tidus, seeming still a bit puzzled, says that the Albed had no right to kidnap them, and finally, Riku breaks.
The pilgrimages have to stop. If they don't, and they get to Xanarkand, they might defeat Sin. Uni could... But then she... Uni will die, you know? You know, don't you? Summoner's journey to get the final Aeon. Yuna told you, didn't she? With the final Aeon, she can beat Sin. But then, if she calls it, then the final Aeon's gonna kill her. Even if she defeats Sin, it will kill Uni too, you know?
Was I the only one who didn't know? Tell me why! Why were you hiding it? Why didn't I know?
Waka and Lulu tell him that they weren't hiding it. Even now, it was simply too hard for them to say. Tidus even begins berating Lulu and Waka for letting her do this.
Lulu!
How could you? How could you? Isn't she like a sister to you? I thought you were family. Why don't you do something, Waka?
Waka and Lulu tell them that they tried stopping her years ago, but Yuna follows her heart and she was dead set on this mission. Riku says that summoners shouldn't be sacrificed just so the rest of Spira can be happy, but Donna and Isaro tell her that this is the choice they have made. Nobody is forcing them. They do it for the people of Spira because they choose to. And it is now that it all starts crashing down on Tidus. All the things he had been saying to Yuna.
And I've been telling Yuna, let's go to Xanarkin together. Let's beat Sin. I told her all the things. We could. And all along, the whole time, I didn't know anything. But Yuna, she'd just smile.
He's been making plans with Yuna that she knew she would never actually live to do. But Yuna always smiled for his sake, for everyone's sake. While he was complaining about wanting to get back home, Yuna was smiling while on a road to her death. As he gets up, he decides that he's not going to let her die.
I'll find her!
With this, Tidus begins to come up with a way to make sure Yuna lives through this, and everyone continues making their way underground. There, they find a dock for an airship. Inside the airship, Tidus confronts Sid and asks him where Yuna is. When he doesn't answer, he grabs him and demands an answer. Sid asks him what he will do once he finds her, and Tidus admits to not knowing about Summoner Sacrifice. Believing Tidus to be just like every other Yevonite, Sid angrily slams Tidus on the ground, but Tidus assures him that he won't let her die.
Boy, don't forget those words. 'Cause if you do, I'm gonna make you regret it.
In case you forgot, Sid is Yuna's uncle. Sid tells him that they don't know where Yuna is, but they'll use that airship to find her. And as Waka realizes that he's standing on a giant forbidden machina, the airship activates and begins to take off. This is when we see the airship and realize that it's the same airship we found underwater when Tidus was helping the Albed in the other underwater ruins. The airship successfully takes off, and based on the dialogue between Brother and Sid, they weren't even sure it would work. Now we realize what their big escape plan is. Why Riku seemed worried. As Sid tells Brother to activate something, Brother gets a somber look in his face and as he says, "Whatever you say." Then, he and the rest of the Albed begin singing the Hymn of the Faith. Waka, confused, asks Riku what's happening. Riku tells them.
We're gonna blow up our home.
And they do just that. As the airship flies away, it fires a volley of missiles behind them towards their home. And holy crap, what the hell were those? Mini nuclear warheads? Both Riku and Brother are understandably sad about this. Brother even begins to cry, but Sid seems almost exhilarated by this.
Nadine Dukit.
Sid assures his people that the best thing about Machina is that they can be rebuilt, trying to get their spirits up. Then we see Waka's version of trying to cheer someone up. Spoilers, it's an awful attempt.
Hey, look, don't get so down. Boom! Like happy festival fireworks, yeah?
You can cram your happy festival, you big meanie!
Who would think that would work? Chapter 29, The Wedding. In the ship, Sid tells Tidus that they're using a device called a Spherosilo Finder to find Yuna. Although,
I don't know how it works either, so don't ask me, okay?
And you still use it?
I don't even rightly know how this rig flies either.
thanks to Yevon's ban on Machina, they kinda just have to wing it when it comes to learning how Machina works.
Ain't it a rush, kiddos?
As Tidus walks around the ship, he finds Waka, who is freaking out about being inside a flying Machina. Kimari, who says he will never forget about the Albed sacrifice, and Isaru and his brothers, who confirm that despite the Albed sacrifice, Isaru is still determined to finish his pilgrimage. His brother, Maroda, also says that they would love to help Tidus think of a way that summoners wouldn't have to be sacrificed, but thanks to Sin, spirits just don't have that kind of time to just sit around. Further in, Tidus also finds Rin, who managed to get away in the ship and who gives you a gift if you have mastered the Albed language by this point. Tidus finds Donna, who seems to have lost her resolve to as a summoner. She asks Tidus what he would think if she gave up her pilgrimage, and here you can choose to be supportive or just say who cares. This doesn't change anything except where you will find her later on in the story. Afterwards, we see Auron and Cid arguing about Yuna and her pilgrimage. Obviously, Auron wants to keep her going. Cid says he will take down anyone who thinks she should continue, and knowing that Cid is the captain, Auron decides to drop it. After this, Wakka notes that Cid called Yuna his niece, so yeah, now Wakka knows, and it's taken him a moment to accept it. After this, Brother informs his father that they found Yuna. It appears she's in Bevel, in a wedding dress. With Seymour? The fact that Bevel is heavily guarded doesn't seem to concern Tidus, as he says,
What's the matter, Gramps? You scared? Yuna's there, so we go and get her! And that's all!
This earns him the respect of Cid, who says that he has guts. After this, Riku asks how Seymour is alive. Auron explains that he is an unsent, and that Yuna must be trying to send him. After this, Rin runs into the cockpit to inform everyone that some of the Guado from home, Snook and Saturn, are attacking them. So with this, the group jump into action and start running through the ship, defeating Guado and fiends. Once they get to the external windows, they find a giant worm flying alongside them. This is Evrae, and it's the guardian worm of Bevel. It's also the second battle that defeated me. Yes, this one too made me reset. As Auron says,
The red carpet has teeth.
without hesitation, Cid tells the group to get on the deck of the ship as they're going to fight Evrae.
The ferryman asks a high price.
So the group head outside the ship and jump to action. The idea is to move close or far away from Evrae depending on the situation. Up far away, only Lulu and Wakka can hit it, but Cid will also be able to attack it using some missiles from the ship. Up close, the ship can't hit it, but everyone else can hit Evrae. However, up close is where its nastier attacks happen. After some beatings and careful maneuvering, the group managed to defeat Evrae. Unfortunately, it seems the ship is starting to lose power, so without even a moment to rest, the ship approaches Bevel and the group prepare to attack. Down in Bevel, we see Yuna and Seymour approaching Micah, who is to marry them. As they get close, Kinak notices fireflies, probably from Evrae, and the warrior monks prepare for an attack. Soon after, the airship appears from the clouds and shoots down some anchors, so the group can slide down onto the ceremony as it dodges monks' stormtrooper levels of firing their weapons. As the group approach Yuna, one thing is clear. Bevel is using Machina to defend itself, as the monks use gun and are accompanied by robots. Then, once they get close to Yuna, Kinak stops them all as all the monks surround him. Yuna tries to use this opportunity to try sending Seymour, but she does it by just sliding right in front of him like, bruh, you could have finessed him and stood right behind him, but no. Anyways, Seymour obviously notices this, and he realizes that the whole marriage was just a play by Yuna to try to send him. As Yuna begins to send him, Micah tells her to stop and threatens to kill her guardians if she doesn't. So Micah is aware that Seymour is an unsent, and Kinak seems to as well. So not wanting to sacrifice her friends, Yuna drops her staff and the wedding continues. Seymour approaches Yuna, and as the group helplessly watch, Seymour kisses Yuna, sealing the marriage. Without hesitating, however, after the kiss, Seymour says,
Kill them.
Kinak tries to apologize to his old friend Auron, saying that he's doing this for Yevon, and Auron notes the hypocrisy of saying this while using weapons forbidden by Yevon. But you know, there's exceptions. Yuna, in a last-ditch effort to save her friends, stands on a windowsill and threatens to jump and kill herself if her friends are not spared. So Seymour, who needs Yuna for whatever it is he's planning, orders the guards in Kina to lower their weapons, and the group run to Yuna. Titus tries to retrieve Yuna, but she knows Seymour and the rest won't allow that, so she begs her friends to leave. When Seymour notes that she will die if she falls, Yuna wipes her mouth of his kiss and tells Titus not to worry, because she can fly. Titus puts his faith in her, and after crossing her arms,
Yuna!
turns out she can fly. Riku uses this opportunity to use a flashbang grenade and the group escape. The only way out, however, is deeper into the Bevel Palace, so that's where they head. Which is good since, as Kimari points out, the Bevel Palace is a temple. So there is only one place Yuna is bound to go, into the temple to pray to the faith. As they delve deeper into the temple, it becomes very clear how hypocritical the Church of Yevon is, as their temple is full of machina. Not even crucial ones either. Some are just convenient. Wakka's faith continues to be shaken.
So this is Yevon's true face.
They betray their own teachings.
They treated us like dirt.
Finally, the group reach the entrance to the Cloister of Trials, where they start. Not only the most tech-filled trials, but also the most tedious ones. I hate this trial so much. It's just a bunch of slides that you have to use spheres in different places to activate different paths that you have to trigger at the right time to take, and it's just time consuming and tedious. Especially with the crap fixed cameras that disorient you. Anyways, they finish the trials and reach the waiting room outside the Chamber of the Faith. Titus, anxious to get to Yuna and tired of Yevon's rules, tries to open the door to the Chamber of the Faith, but it's too heavy. He continues trying even as Wakka tries to stop him, since a non-summoner entering is taboo.
You can stuff your taboos!
Agreeing with Titus, Kimari joins and helps him lift the gate. He holds the door open, allowing Titus and Oren to enter. Inside the Chamber of the Faith, they see Yuna praying in front of a statue, and on top of the statue they see a soul of faith. One which looks very familiar. It's the little boy from the beginning of the game. As the faith joins with Yuna, Oren explains to Titus exactly what a faith is, and he says that the dead should be allowed to rest. Titus catches Yuna as she falls over from exhaustion, and Oren quietly leaves the room. After he carries Yuna, Titus exits the room with Yuna. Riku tries to stop them, but it's too late. As Titus leaves the room, he finds himself and the group surrounded by warrior monks and Keenock. Keenock tells them that they are to face trial, to which Oren laughs, sarcastically saying that he expected to be a fair trial.
Of course it will.
We now have the Aeon Bahamut.